Welcome, everybody, to the Mental Health Hour. This is episode 36. This is a viewer voted. We did a vote over the past week with our Discord community, and there'll be more on that coming. We'd like everybody that enjoys this content and stuff to join the Discord community, because a lot of our interactions with you all are through there. It's easy for everybody. Discord's been pretty awesome. There's the link to our bio link. The Discord with an invite is in there. So we encourage you to join. Hello to all the live viewers coming on in, and hello to our replay viewers over on YouTube, and hello to Gemma.
Hey, I'm going to get a link for the bio link so that people can do that.
Okay.
Bio link.
So our viewer voted. We ran a poll with four different ads. See you in a minute. Craig, it's good to see you. We ran an ad with four different options for show topics just to let the viewers pick one. And the overwhelming pick was relationships and mental health. So there you go. There's Craig. Welcome in, Craig.
Hey, Craig.
But anywho, before we do get started, we wanted to take a moment here and mourn the loss of somebody in our live streaming community.
Yeah. Have you lost your sound just now?
No, it was.
Oh, you're there. That was strange. It just went funny. Yeah, it's fine. We're working. Vanita, for people that didn't know, she went to work. I think was it Monday. Collapsed at work and had a brain aneurysm, and then sadly passed yesterday. I know that she was a friend to many people on and in the live streaming community. So it's always sad when someone passes. So just want to say from both Tim and myself that our thoughts are with her family, her friends, and her loved ones. And anybody that is affected by that can reach out, or I have put some numbers in the Discord, but there are plenty of helpline numbers if that is required as well. So.
Absolutely. And may she rest in peace.
Yeah.
Vanita was a fantastic member for the little bit of time I knew her on the old platform. She always had some very fun, happy star broadcasts. Yes, we extend our deepest condolences to the family and to Bernie. And it's very sad. But moving forward, we'll get into today's episode. Hello, Hattie, and hello, Ella. Good to see everybody. Thanks for stopping in. And so today, if you guys are just coming in, we're going to be talking relationships and mental health. So this is a broad topic, I guess you could say. It encompasses quite a bit. So initially I had really thought relationships with your significant other, but while doing work to prepare for the show and whatnot, this can go in many different directions. So we're talking relationships with your significant other, or just regular friendships, your communal relationships like work, school, and of course your familial relationships, your immediate family, extended family, in-laws, married family, all that good stuff. So there's so many different avenues we can run down here. So this will be a good good show. We've got a couple things planned. I have to try and upload a short video that we found. I don't know if it'll just throw it right on the screen or not, but we can certainly give it a go. I'll just take it right down if that is the case. So yeah, we'll just get straight into what we want to cover. Gemma, did you have anything before we begin to start?
No, we're just gonna get into it, but yeah, like relationships and mental health would affect anyone. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, as you say, it can be anything. So anybody that suffers with mental health in any capacity, it would be relevant for them. So yeah.
Yes. And certainly, as always, in the comments section, please share your experiences, share your anything that hits home with during the broadcast, whatever we are talking about. We love to hear from you guys. Makes the show that much better. And yes, absolutely. Please share whatever you feel comfortable with. And a hello to Demi and a hello to Eric. Eric, for those of you that don't know, will be appearing on our show with us. We are going to meet with him on February the 4th to talk about it. And I think we have him scheduled in the beginning of March. Oh, speaking of that, we are also going to be planning a new or another episode where, like we did earlier, forget which episode it was, 27 or something like that, where we did the live viewer Q&A. We had you, for the month of whatever it was, we had you submit questions anonymously to us through our bio link. There's a form there, and even on the Discord, you can access it. It is...
I'll grab that now for you.
Yes, please. And thank you, Demi, for the bits. We had such a good time with that, and everybody seemed to like it, so it went really well, and we're going to do that again, but more on that towards the end of the show. So relationships, let's start with just an overall going over. I think most of the information can pretty much transcribe between different whether it's with your significant other or whether it's with a friendship, coworker, etc. Now, it is important to remember, though, that sometimes when we're at work or at school or something, we might have a different persona than we do just lounging around at home. So we're kind of putting on two different faces. There's work Tim and there's regular Tim. And for that, you just have to be cognizant of what you're portraying to another person. Is it the same that your mom would get, or is it different? Probably not, right? So that's going to affect how people in turn deal with you. Now, I'd like to try and base this around one person in the relationship, maybe you or maybe your significant other, having some mental health challenges, which could be any number of things. So starting off, I think we'll just look a little bit about some red flags and some good things to harbor a good relationship. And I think number one is trust. Gemma, would you agree with that? Trust?
Oh, absolutely. Without trust, especially in a relationship, you've pretty much got nothing. If you can't trust who you're with, then the rest doesn't gel.
Right.
Absolutely top priority.
Right. And with trust comes respect. So respect and trust, these are very big starts for the foundation of any good relationship. And whenever you're building anything, you need a solid foundation. What's up, Ray? How are you? It's good to see you. Thanks for stopping in and me showing the love. So yeah, we're going to start from the ground up. You need a good foundation. Trust is where you want to begin. If you don't trust somebody, then chances are your relationship's not going to be that great. And looking at a couple of other key factors, I like the time apart, time with ratio. That's pretty big, especially for a relationship with a significant other. There is too much time together, and of course, there's too much time apart. But a healthy balance in between the two of those, like for example, my wife and I spend a good bit of time together. However, like tonight, I'm home alone as she's at work, and then tomorrow I'll be gone for 24 hours on my shift. But then we make sure we plan things, that we will on those times that we are together. We have something to do, not every single time, but it is important to notice that it's healthy to spend some time away. It feels terrible when you have to leave all the time. However, that does help the relationship grow.
Definitely. I think when you're on top of each other all the time, that really it can be intense. And I think that nothing would have demonstrated that more than COVID lockdowns, maybe.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to be 2 minutes. I've just got to sort them out, but I'm going to mute.
Like Gemma was just saying there, the COVID lockdown had us all not at each other's throats or anything, I wouldn't say, but we definitely got a lot more time together than anybody was used to. So I think the time apart can be so helpful to a healthy relationship. Some of the red flags that we're going to be looking at, and we'll get more into this, but control. That's the big one. Partners that try and control, or if one is more of the alpha dog in the relationship, this can tend to skew things to whatever they want to do. It's not going to always be fair. It should be a fair sharing of the what are we going to do today kind of conversations. Once one person starts asserting too much control, then the other person feels nothing more than submission, and like their opinion doesn't matter. Dismissed. These are qualities that nobody should ever have to feel. Unfortunately, it happens quite a bit. But also on the red flag side of things, and this, I think, I don't want to call it a red flag, but more of a talking point. But boundaries. And I'll get into this more in depth a little bit later. But boundaries are so huge for a healthy relationship. You cannot essentially get mad at your significant other or your coworker or a schoolmate, a friend. You can't really be mad with them or upset with them if they don't know your expectations. So setting boundaries is just one of those things where, you're going to start one way or start the relationship off on the right foot. Gemma rejoins us here.
Sorry about that.
All right. We're talking real quickly about boundaries in relationships and how important those can be.
Definitely.
Without boundaries, you can't expect people to just know what you want,
Yeah, definitely. It's good to have some healthy boundaries. And as you say, if you don't if you don't share with the other person what you want and what you expect, providing they're like reasonable, then you know it pays to have them, because obviously the last thing you want is to be crossing those boundaries without knowing, or them doing that, like taking advantage even at the other side of things, because then that's where it gets into the territory of it not working in a relationship, breakdowns and things.
Absolutely. Yep. Tim Conrad and I do that frequently. What bugs either of us when we stream together? Yes, Ella and I do the late night comedy hour, if you will. I haven't actually been streaming much at night lately because of my work schedule's been so crazy. I've been exhausted. So defining those boundaries without causing friction. Yes, Craig, absolutely. And part of a good relationship as well, and that's a good segue, Craig, is communication. The lines of communication have to be on their game. Nobody should be screaming at one another. We should understand what's going on, and this comes into play for all relationships, but most importantly with your significant other, spouse, partner, whatever it may be, so that you can go to them. You're going to spend a lot of time with a significant other. And if your communication skills aren't good, then I think, everything else is going to break down. Would you agree, Gemma?
Oh yeah, definitely. If you're, like, say if you've met somebody that you are planning on spending time with romantically and you want that to work, the first and most important thing is to be open and honest with that person, because if you're not, that's where the trust and things comes into play. But to pretty much from the get-go let them know what you want and what you expect from that relationship, like even be it a friendship to start with, because you have to have boundaries even with friends, and that trust, because if there isn't that, then it's just going to end disastrously. And to have the boundaries in place from the get-go so that they know what to expect and what you expect, and then as the relationship becomes more, to introduce more so that you know both so that you both know what you want from the relationship. And then obviously when you move in with somebody, there will be more like boundaries, more expectations from that relationship.
Right.
I think that's where, for me, my relationship didn't work, because even though I had discussed what I expected and what I wanted from it, the other party wasn't quite so as forthcoming with those, shall we say. And there was the breakdown with those, then the breakdown with the trust, and with the obviously the lying, the cheating, and then everything else just fell apart from there.
Certainly.
They're the two most important things, I think.
I've dropped the link to one of the pages that I was looking at with these red flags and such, if you want to do some more exploring on your own. And I will be putting this one in the Discord as well. Greetings from Chicagoland, Mr. Jim in the house, everybody. The host of Catalyst, which will be on later this evening, and we will talk about that also at the end of the show. But yes, open lines of communication and good communication, not the screaming at each other, not the dismissive. That's a huge thing. We've talked about it several times, how one person can feel completely dismissed in a relationship, and they're constantly being told that they're wrong, even if it was with all the right intentions, i.e., your significant other says that I'm fat, and you say, no, you're not. Well, that's a dismissive comment. Obviously, they are feeling something, something has caused that to come up inside of them, and you can talk it out better than just saying no, you're not, and moving on and back to
Yeah.
your game or whatever, right?
Definitely.
So why don't we take a look at some slides here, and we'll start with the multicolored one. This might be a little hard to read, but Gemma will read it off and we'll talk a little bit about it. This is just about relationships in general.
Right. Okay. Let me have a look. I'm having trouble myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's blurry as heck.
No, that's all right. We can go over the big talking points. And again, these slides will be available for viewing. The big talking points, though, is giving your time, taking time to be with one another, and not just, as the next one says, not just giving your time to one another, but being present. Put down the cell phones. One of the things that I had to, or that when I got home from rehab, me and my wife started some couples counseling so she could kind of come into my world a little bit, as it was completely turned upside down. And it in turn was a great exercise for us. And we got a lot of helpful tips in entering our marriage at the same time. So this was a big one. Be present when you're together. Don't just be sitting there on your cell phone. If you take your wife to dinner or your husband to dinner, be there.
Yeah.
Talk, the two of you, how many times do you go out and you look around and everybody's just on their phones?
Yeah, you can see people sat and they're just like they're glued to the phone and there's no conversation, no nothing, and it's like, well, why are you even out?
Yeah, exactly. It's hysterical. But yeah, and then that goes along with listening. Actively listen to what the other people are saying. You should be engaged in the conversation, and that way you're listened to. So you can be listened to. It's a give and go process. It's a give take. And then you got to learn how to recognize these unhealthy relationships, and we'll get into that a little bit. We've already started with some of the red flags. However, there's some more that I would like to touch on. So moving on, Gemma, I think you should be able to take a gander at these.
Yeah. Let me have a look. Right, yeah. So how mental illness affects romantic relationships. So feeling unworthy of love, reduced sex drive, so like due to medications and things, which that certainly has had an impact with me having lots of medications, and that can then have an effect on your relationship because the other part is looking for like, well, do you not want it? Do you not find me attractive? And it can bring its own problems into play with that one. And then the needing reassurance, because that would follow with the like feeling if like I say, for example, I would always be really tired and want to go to bed and want to go to sleep, and my partner at the time would be like, well, we don't do anything, do you not find me attractive, stuff like that. And then they need the reassurance that no, it's not that, I'm just really not feeling very well, and it can become difficult, and then you feel like you're obliged to do it.
Right.
And
Sex can be a very big point of contention, and just like you were just saying, like, am I not attractive? I know I had a little bit of trouble when I got home from rehab, but my whole life was flopped up, completely 180'd, and I was on a ton of meds for physical health and for mental health. And yeah, I mean the sex drive just wasn't there initially, but there is. I did talk with my doctor, and we adjusted some things with the meds, and things definitely got better. However, during that time, my wife was feeling just that, like, am I not attractive? What's going on? And I had to explain that, look, it's not, I'm still very attracted to you. It's just with everything that's happening, it's just my sex drive is down, and it is a side effect of some meds, and just sitting down and having these conversations is really the key factors here. I'm sorry. Continue.
Oh no, you're fine. Like back to the like the sex and stuff, like with when we talk about pain and things, that also is a factor in there, because I know certainly for myself, literally some days just moving or being touched, it hurts. So when you are potentially entering into a relationship with someone, with like romantically, it's always best from the very start to be open and honest with them about you and how you are and how you feel and how you're affected by that. And then certainly with myself again, when I felt that there was that trust in that relationship, I then had to open up about the fact that I'd been sexually abused, and that also was a factor in me having to build up that extra trust with them, because there's that factor to put into that as well. So make sure that you are open and honest with your partner, but obviously you don't want to go out on a date and just blurt it all out right at the very start, because that's a bit intense.
Right. Absolutely. Oops.
But I think you know when the time's right, I guess. So back to the slide. Sorry, we got on.
Yeah. No, that's what they're for. These are the talking points I want to cover too.
Emotionally distant, which again, it all can play in there, because again, going back to like the reduced sex drive and the reduced like physical contact, and then some people don't want the public displays of affection, things like that. Some people don't like that. But again, it's to be discussed with the other person. But then I've known it where, certainly for myself, and I don't know if you experienced the same, when you didn't have the sex drive and things like that, and then you weren't able to do the things that maybe you would normally have, then the other party then becomes maybe a little bit distant with you because of that, because of the way they feel.
Certainly.
Start off with being the person that's affected by the illness, then being passed on to the other person because of the way that their mind is getting them to think. So
it's definitely a barrier, for sure, and it does put that emotional distance, like it's talking about. Sex in a relationship is sex is a huge part of your romantic relationships, and I feel it's safe to say that everybody at some point in time has issues in their sex life. I guess I shouldn't say everyone, because there are outliers to every case. However, it's a very common thing, and it's nothing to be embarrassed over. Again, it's just sitting down and talking. Communication is key, and that keeps that, and maybe even some couples counseling, or speaking with your doctor if you're on meds, because sex in a healthy relationship can already be a difficult thing. Go ahead and add a mental health challenge into the mix, and things definitely take a ramp up. So yes, reduced sex drive, feeling unworthy, love, that constant reassurance, and just the numbness, can all be affected by somebody having a mental health issue. Moving forward, a couple more things.
Yeah. So this one we've got. So how mental illness affects romantic relationships. So trust issues. As we've discussed, trust is key to any kind of relationship, not just romantically, but any relationship, feeling unworthy of sexual attention, worrying about what your partner is thinking, flashbacks to past trauma, and body image concerns. So there's some really big ones in there. Do you have anything you want to mention?
So we did a whole episode on the body image thing, and I feel like that definitely is another big talking point amongst a lot of relationships with significant others. Again, open lines of communication and being honest really goes a long way. If you're lying constantly to your significant other, why should they ever believe you when you talk about their body image? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're constantly honest, I think there's a lot more what's the word? There's a lot more credibility to your reassurances. And worrying about what your partner is thinking is just, that's one of those anxiety. There's a whole thing called relationship anxiety. And that's another episode. However, it definitely it encompasses all of these things, all of the things with, for instance, constantly checking their cell phone messages, or feeling the need to, at least, snooping around when they're not home. Trust issues. It all falls on that. Trust issues.
Yeah, and then like with the trust thing, is so big because, as I've said before, if you have a thief, for example, you know that you don't leave anything valuable around because they could pinch it. If you have, say, somebody that's murdered somebody, like not like a bit deep, but just don't turn your back on them, stuff like that. But if you have somebody that has lied, you never can trust a thing that they say. There's always going to be that doubt. Well, they've lied once. Are they doing it again? So with the trust thing, that throws into play absolutely everything that they have ever said and that they ever are likely to say. Because if there's the trust issue, if you can prove outright that they've lied to you, that will make you question everything that they ever say and everything that they ever do. So trust, definitely a big thing. And if in a relationship you haven't got trust, then like the whole relationship basically is built on trust, and trusting somebody else, trusting that they are not going to run away with somebody else, trusting that they actually do love you, trusting that they're not going to, I don't know, like steal everything from you. Like, there's so many things. And I think that when you've had a relationship with somebody where you've been made to doubt yourself, because I think having the trust issues and a break, when there's been a break in that trust with somebody, it makes, even though potentially like you weren't the liar, you were the one being lied to, it makes you doubt yourself, and it can have a real detrimental knock-on effect with you and any other relationships you have. Because I know that when I had been with somebody because he was a liar, it made me then go into my other relationships thinking, well, are they lying too? And it's so hard to try and disconnect from what's happened in the past and not bring it forward with you into that new relationship or into relationships with other friends. Say, it doesn't have to be romantically, but it's just so hard to say, well, just because that one person lied to me doesn't mean that everybody else is going to. You have to see each person for the individual that they are, not because, oh, well, he's a man and he lied to me, so all men are liars, or, you do know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
You have to see each person for their own worth and their own value and give them a chance. Yeah, if they lie to you, then fine. They've lied to you, that trust's broken.
Yes.
But,
trust is something that takes a very long time, and I've learned to build back.
A lifetime to build.
When I was in my heavy drinking, I was a constant liar, just a pathological liar. But it was anything to do that I could protect my buzz, protect my drinking. You know, it's a big part. That was my top priority. You know, my ex-wife, my wife at the time, she was not anywhere near priority one. Alcohol was it. And I was starting down that path with my current wife now, but until I got this under control. And thank God she stuck around, because that was just a low point. Michael, thank you for sharing your comment as well. Mental health issues in a relationship can unfortunately lead to some domestic violence as well, whether it be verbal or physical. But this is, again, something that could also happen in a healthier relationship or whatever. I mean, but it's just the mental health problems or issues can definitely ramp these things up. Take a look at this helpful tips, and then we can try and take a look at this video if you like. So showing, support and sympathy, that goes with, what I was talking about not being dismissive. You don't need to, even though sometimes it might feel like the right thing to shut that down or stop that thought process, the negative effect it has on the other person that you don't see is still there. They do feel dismissed. They do feel like their opinion doesn't matter. Educate yourself about mental health. I'm constantly doing that, and it's very important for my recovery. It's very important to stay on top of these things and keep learning, to keep it fresh and to keep it interesting for me. If something in my brain becomes boring, then it gets cast aside. Again, communication is right there. Seeking professional help is never a bad idea. There's no shame in asking for help. There is absolutely no shame in it. If you take nothing else from me during the 36 episodes we've been doing this show, there is no shame in needing a little help. That's what these people are here for. That's what they do. And you're not the only one that sees them. Otherwise, there'd only be one of them, and they'd be out of business. Right?
Oh, yeah, for real.
We can't do everything ourselves. There's going to be a breakdown somewhere, or continuous breakdowns. Ask for help. Find a way to compromise so both of you feel supported. Compromise is a tough thing to swallow. But when both parties, it's funny because when a good compromise leaves everybody unhappy, right? That's the saying. But everybody gets a little bit of the pie that way, and hopefully you can compromise, find ways to compromise instead of trying to split it down the middle all the time. Maybe do 100% your way and then 100% their way the next time, or vice versa. Healthy habits together, inclusion. This is a big one, and something that my wife doesn't feel like we do enough of. And I'm working on trying to find a couple things that we can do together. Not just habits, like just going somewhere, common interests. Like we have our common interests, but I think she wants more of something new and exciting, so just starting new things, trying new things together is really can help that relationship grow. And of course, self-care. One of our favorite episodes that we did on the show, and something we talk about all the time, self-care. like Gemma said, you can't be healthy for others if you're not healthy yourself. Your relationship can't be healthy if you're not healthy. So practice self-care, and keep your mind clear, and that will nurture your relationship. Anything to add there, Gemma?
A couple of things. I like definitely with the self-care thing. I think that when you see somebody like a friend or something that is struggling or like is unwell, we're very quick to say, oh, like, are you all right? Do you need anything? Go to the doctors, anything like that. But when it's yourself, you're just like, oh, I'll be fine, like, and not like looking after ourselves. But you can't be like, if you're a parent, you can't be like the best parent you can be or the best person or the best friend if you're not looking after yourself. But then it's like with the relationship thing, just to pick up, and I think when we enter into a new relationship, it's really easy because like it's new, it's exciting, and we're getting to know each other, and it's really easy. But then to go on and to maintain that relationship, especially when you've been in this relationship for a long time, trying to do things that keep that excitement there, to keep that spark there. Like, I mean, when you've been with someone for a long time, and yeah, you love them and you can't imagine your life without them, but it's important to do something for yourselves, like as a couple, like
Mhm.
just to keep that spark there, just to keep it, like, just to have that time for yourselves and to remind you, both of you, what it is that you have together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, Even if it's just to, I don't know, go see a movie together, or like have a date night or something, maybe once a week, once a month, just a date night, go out for a meal, try a new restaurant, try a new hobby, dancing, go skating, anything just to do for the two of you. And it
Mhm.
can be hard when you have young children, as you're about to find out yourself, Tim. But it like it can be hard, and I'm sure that when that time comes, you'll be exhausted.
Yes, I can't
So
wait though.
yeah, oh,
There's a new habit to pick up together, huh?
oh, for sure.
Parenting.
Hmm.
Um, but yes, thank you. And Hattie saying this slide is 100% what I'm going through now. That's perfect. That's exactly what we like to hear. Obviously not um,
Hmm.
anything horrible, but we like to connect with our audience. And
One thing that,
if we're
sorry.
putting up material like that really hits home, then
Hmm.
that means I'm happy with the show we're doing. Um, and as always, you can always reach out to the DMs as well in the Discord, or Twitter is better for me than any other. But go ahead, Gemma.
Yeah, one thing when we just mentioned about the children, somebody messaged me quite a few weeks ago now, and asked me about relationships. And one thing that I mean, like everybody can make their own mind up with this, but if there's ever any relationship problems,
Mm-hmm.
denial is not the way to fix it. So if there's that doubt, you need to work on yourselves first before adding another party into that, which is in this case a child, which is the advice I gave to this person that asked. Obviously, like, you can make of that as you will, and everybody can make their own mind up. But if there's one thing that can put strain on a relationship, and that's a child, so obviously make sure that you are in a strong enough relationship. And I say this knowing that my relationship broke down after a child, because my relationship wasn't strong enough, because obviously I was spending all my time being a mother, and we didn't have as much time together. We were I was exhausted. I had a physical health on top of that, and I ended up with really bad postnatal depression as well. And it was hard. And then my now ex-partner got very jealous of that because we weren't having that time together anymore. Everything changed.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely like make sure that it's strong enough to withstand that. But also, like I said to my friend, if you're not in a strong enough relationship, don't add another party into that thinking it'll make it stronger, because chances are it won't.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to add that in there.
Oh, thank you. We're going to go ahead real quick, and we have Gemma found a little short video. It's only about 4 to 5 minutes long, but I enjoyed it. I'm going to see if it'll work. It was also more of a test to see how the videos play in the StreamYard and see what it looks like. But a lot of good information here. And so real quick, watch this, and we'll be back to wrap things up.
We'll be sharing 5 tips for helping someone with a mental illness based on an article from issue 2 of our magazine. One of the biggest factors in whether those who are mentally ill will open up to a person about their feelings is how that person reacts. It can be frustrating when someone in our life is ill, and we don't like seeing our loved ones in pain and often want to help. These 5 tips should help assure that your loved one can open up more to you. Tip number 1. Don't allow your negative emotions to be visible. Like I said, it can be frustrating trying to help someone who's ill. You might feel anger, pity, sadness, or even helplessness when trying to help. It's best not to show these emotions. Don't sigh when your loved one responds in a way you don't like, and don't talk to them as if they are stupid. Keep in mind, if they could act healthy, they would, and if you show a negative reaction to your loved ones, they are much more likely to hide their feelings. On to tip 2. Do show them that you still care. This one may seem obvious, but often mental illness makes a person feel broken or somehow less than. Therefore, your loved ones should be reminded that you care greatly about them. Without this reassurance, they may feel as if no one cares. Tip 3, and this one is an important one. Don't tell or remind them that it could be worse. This is extremely unhelpful. The idea that knowing that some people are worse off will feel better is simply not true. In fact, it might make your loved one feel even worse. Firstly, all that matters to your loved one right now is that they feel bad, so bringing up others doesn't really factor in to how they feel. Secondly, this reminder may cause guilt within your loved one. They may feel guilty for talking about the illness, or even worse, feel guilty for being ill at all. This means that your loved one is less likely to open up about their illness to you or to anyone else in the future. Tip 4. Don't try to relate how they feel to your own experiences. That is, unless you have the same illness, of course. It can be tempting to try and relate how they feel to things you've been through. But telling someone who has bipolar that you understand because you have mood swings, or your friend with anxiety that you understand because you get anxious before exams, isn't helpful. Mental illnesses are more extreme than other behaviour and feelings, and it can often feel invalidating to the person to hear these things. Also, doing this tends to focus the conversation back on you, when it is the other person who needs support. So it's best to listen, rather than try to offer up your own stories. And finally, tip 5. Do try and research their illness. The internet is a wonderful tool that allows you to research whatever illness your loved one has. You can research symptoms, helpful tips, and read others' experiences. This all means that you can support your loved one in the best way possible. Something good to research is particular warning signs and how best to deal with them. Knowing, for example, that someone's first sign of anxiety can be them feeling very hot is good for spotting when a possible anxiety attack is about to rear its head. That's it for our tips. We hope that you now feel better equipped to help support someone with mental illness.
Very good. I actually like that, how it played and everything looked good. I hope it came across well on your all's side. A very nice video, as Hattie said, that you found there.
Yeah, I thought that was quite fitting. So, yeah, not too long, but very informative, I think. So, yeah.
I'm going to drop that. That's the YouTube channel for Psych to Go. We utilize a lot of their videos for this show. They're actually on our YouTube channel as recommended viewing. And but absolutely, as Michael says, be careful using the internet and try to diagnose yourself and others. That it was kind of touched on in the video as well. Just very poignant way of dealing with people with mental health. That can be a big thing and a part of what my recovery entailed when I got home. Finally, I had a few questions that I found that might help. Is your relationship healthy? Ask yourself, does my partner encourage me to grow? Do we share goals for the future? That's important. You don't want to be the same person, but you want to have like-minded goals. Do we want the same kind of relationship? Can I be myself with them? If you can't be yourself, what is the point of spending the rest of your life lying to yourself, lying to everybody about who you are? You have to feel comfortable in your own skin. Do I accept them for who they are? Do you accept your significant other or coworker, friendship, whatever the case may be? Do we give time, or do we give and take from each other fairly and equally? Or is one person the alpha male, the alpha female, the always gets their way, because if not, there's going to be hell to pay? Is my life better with them in it? That's a huge question, and it should be fairly straightforward. Is my life better with them in it? Does our time together have meaning? These are just sample questions, of course, something to ponder as we start to wrap up the show. We will probably have to do another episode on this, I think, Gemma.
Yeah, definitely. It's a long one.
Yeah, I still have several bullet points that we didn't even get to cover yet, but that's okay. I'd actually like to do a more specific episode on dealing with someone with mental health problems. This was kind of just an overall foundation groundwork of relationships and what's one of the big takeaways from tonight: trust, respect, communication, and above all, please ask for help. Ask for help. Maybe it's not just you that needs help. Maybe it's your significant other that needs help. You can open lines of communication with them about doing it together. It's not so scary when you're with someone. See if they want you to go with them. Do a couples thing instead of just telling them, hey, you have a problem and you need to go get help or I'm out of here. These are difficult terms to come with. Trust me, I know. But overall, it was the best thing I've ever done for myself. So we hope you have enjoyed. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping here. First and foremost, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we will be doing another live Q&A. So all month long, this episode will be on March 2nd, the first Wednesday of March. All month long, please hit up the Discord. Please hit up the bio link. And halfway down the bio link you'll see submit a question. 100% completely anonymous. Gemma?
Yeah, I'm just gonna put the link in right now.
So
there you go, right there, and it is completely anonymous. I mean, there is an option you can put your name if you wish. However, we won't read the name out on the show. We will read it, the question, but we won't read the name out. But you can completely leave the name blank. It doesn't record any IP addresses. It doesn't record your country. It records nothing. It is 100% anonymous.
right, and even if you did put your name, there's still no way for us to verify that that's you.
Yeah,
So
we wouldn't anyway.
you could put Santa Claus. The fact is we don't know who's sending these questions. So if you're worried about that, and you didn't send a question maybe last time we did one of these episodes because of that, you can trust in the fact that we have no clue. And like I said, even if you did put your name, we wouldn't be able to know it was you to begin with. So
yeah. One thing that I do want to mention as well, if you send a question and it contains somebody else's name, we will not read that name out. If it's about somebody, when I read it out, I will omit the name. And I generally, like, if it says he, she, I will like degender it so that it can be relevant for everybody. But the only way I wouldn't read one out, I think there was one, is because it was literally about somebody and there's no way I could have read it without it being obvious to who it was. So please do try to be mindful of that. And if you submit a question, make sure it's, if you have somebody in mind, that's fine. Keep that in your mind. But ideally, don't
be respectful.
Yeah. Just keep it.
Be respectful, be inclusive, and you can write somebody's name if you absolutely have to, but just know we're going to omit that from the show. And if it's too aggressively put that it's about somebody, then we might have to omit the question. But we can definitely reach out behind the scenes to you if you need that.
Yeah, you can put an email address or a contact detail in there if you need us to contact you privately.
www.mybunnyvalentine.com, a long supporter of the show since day one, I guess. Ella the Bunny Mom, she's there in the chat today. Please give her website. Her website is also on our bio link for easy access. Use the promo code FIREDUDE15. Get yourself some lovable little electronical bunnies. This one's a Bluetooth speaker. Hooks up with your phone, iPad, anything with Bluetooth capabilities. There's jewelry, there's apparel, there's stuffed animal plushies, all kinds of goodies. Valentine's Day's coming, Easter's coming. Get it in mybunnyvalentine.com. Promo code FIREDUDE15. And don't forget, tonight, Catalyst Wednesday with Jim in Chicagoland. He's also a long supporter of the show. Get some more mental health in you tonight by the candle. Jim in Chicagoland does a great broadcast. He fields any and all comments, and wherever the conversation goes, it kind of, like I said, kind of lets that midweek blues, good place to come and chat and be with friends. Again, we're going to hit the road now. Let me see if there's anybody to raid.
Wellness Wednesday,
Catalyst Wednesday.
all the good stuff on the Wednesdays.
So let's see here. Raid channel. There's nobody really on. Let's see if we can pick somebody randomly. I don't know if it'll. Here's somebody. I don't know anything much about this person, but we'll rate them anyway. What the heck? Okay. Yeah. And like Jim said, Catalyst is here to listen, learn, and support. All right, guys. Thanks for stopping in. We'll see everybody back here next week.